the show is we give opinions, right? There's judgments. That's what this is for, right? And you have to hold the people accountable whether you know them or not. Like you can't tell me that you just think that everybody's just supposed to do what the fuck they want to do, and then we just remain in the same bullshit we've been in. Let me finish. Why is that a thing for us? As black people, we can't judge each other. We don't hold each other to any type of standard. Why is that a thing for us? And why do we think that's okay?
Oh, I ain't saying that you can't judge, but it's just not your business to hold somebody accountable for something that has no bearing on your life.
Why does it not have a bearing on our people? So think about this. People are easily influenced, right?
Absolutely.
So this gentleman is a pastor. I think he's a minister though. I don't think he has his own congregation, right? So now people think that these people lead the flock. That's what people think, Corey. They don't think that they just sharing and they say, "But go ahead, do what you want to do." And I'm wait. What you said was he tells us what to do, but then he can be flawed. He can do what he wants. Pierre made a very valid point where there is a higher standard if you are a minister and a teacher of the word, right? You don't get the same grace as other people get because
I think as a minister, he teaches that ministers are regular humans and are also not perfect, right? So I don't think he ever gave the perception that he was perfect and that you should treat him as perfect.
But this is not a mistake. This is a calculated decision, though. This is a calculated decision. That's not the same thing as making a mistake based on the commandments. He made a calculated decision to break one of the commandments that he said he was going to uphold. That you can't just say he's a person. That doesn't make any sense.
He is just like you can make mistakes. He can make mistakes.
Wait,
the difference being he's not a public figure.
I think that's
public figure. That the public figure means nothing.
Nothing.
So that's Donald Trump when he was telling
you decided to follow him on Instagram. It made him a public figure. Like he just himself doing.
Regardless of that, he's a public figure. He stepped into the role. He assumed those responsibilities. You don't just get to say, "Hey, today I'm a celebrity. Tomorrow, you know what? Fuck that shit. I ain't nobody."
So because you're a celebrity, you got to stay in an unhappy relationship,
right?
So Corey, let me ask you this, Corey. Let me ask you this, Corey. So if someone who holds influence over people, you don't think they have any accountability over their influence?
There hasn't been a flawed leader, unflawed leader yet, right?
No, that's not answering the question.
That's not answering. Had bitches.
That's not answering the question. That's not answering the question.
Do you not follow him because he had bitches?
That's not answering the question.
He was a pastor too.
Not answering the question though.
Okay. What's your question?
You ain't even hear the question. Nigga.
I did hear the question.
My question was, if you have influence over our people, are you not supposed to be held accountable for your influence?
No. I mean, God's gonna hold him if he's committing sins, then God will hold him accountable. That's it. Yeah.
I'm not talking about God holding him accountable. We can't predict what God does.
How are you going to hold him accountable? Like marriage. At the congregation. So what are you expecting from the congregation to hold him accountable? That's my question.
To question.
Question what? His marriage?
Why is he divorcing his wife?
That's not your business.
Okay, but this is the thing.
That's the problem, though. That's the problem. If we say it's not your business, then nobody's accountable for anything who has influence over people.
But don't tell me
your marriage
business when you've shared everything else. Is my point. Don't tell me don't. That's like when people make posts online and they tell all of their business, and then someone comments and they be like, "Girl, I'll message you." What you do that for? Because now I want to know too.
Ooh, we all go together.
Social media got y'all tweaking. Like you're not entitled to know.
Okay, so let's say it wasn't social media,
Thank you, Kadi.
He's writing books. He's doing tours. And you're telling people this is what's going on. This is what's going on.
As a minister, his job is to spread the word.
But forget him being a minister. Him as a man.
His job is to live the word.
But see, think about it from this perspective, though, right? We are all independent, intelligent thinkers.
Apparently, not everybody.
But wait, I'm talking about us on the panel, right? But a lot of people aren't. What if you based your marriage on their marriage?
But you shouldn't.
Then you're a fool. Then you are a fool.
Whether you should or you shouldn't. What if you did? Because that man is supposed to lead you to the word.
You basing your word, your marriage on the book. That's what he's teaching from the book.
You're talking about people who can use their own independent intelligence.
Well, stupid people gonna make stupid decisions. I can't help that. You know
so wait, I think you answered this, Corey, but I forgot, and I just want to be very clear. Mm-hmm. You're saying public figures should not be accountable for the things that they do or say.
I don't think that's what he said, but
I don't think that's what I said. What I said was him being a public figure is irrelevant.
Where your backtrack button at?
I never said that. What I said is he is a minister, and as a minister, it's his job to teach and spread the word. That is
I'm not lying. You really don't know what the Bible says, and I'm not gonna go into it, but you're wrong on that point. I'm just gonna tell you that.
What is his job as a minister?
Right. So because if we go down that road, it's not gonna go how you think it's gonna go.
We do not have 8 hours for this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Right, because y'all can't keep up with that shit no way. So, but the obligation of a preacher, pastor, minister, you have to teach and live. Point blank. Period. Right. You have to be an example.
We fall short. Right?
So now
he attempted to live it and he fell short.
But see, falling short isn't a. See, you guys think that
falling short is always an option.
The Bible actually doesn't say that you have to fall short, right? Now, you guys gloss over. Yes, you're perfect. Yeah, you can be perfect based on the commandments, right? But that's a different conversation. Now, why didn't? Well, I'm just telling you what the Bible says. Now, Alex, why did you guys gloss over Alex's point? You post everything else on the net. On the Instagram about how great we're doing relationship goals, but now we can't hold them accountable when you've been sharing every single thing else. How do they? Wait. How do we say now it's? Wait, Corey. But then Kadi said it ain't nobody's business, and you agree. You can't say that. You can't.
When he was sharing things that he felt would help and uplift people. His business ain't going. You just want to know his business so you can shit on him.
Right. Or he might be willing to write a book about how, transitioning through the divorce. He's not done with the divorce. He's still currently active and healing through it. So in another year or two, there might be a book about how when you're not equally yoked, how sometimes you got to go a separate way, or how, you can still remain friends after divorce. There might be more to come. They're currently in it. So you have to give people a moment, just the same way that they wrote the book about how they fell in love. They had to get there first.
Anybody trying to write that book? We want to.
You just want to know. People just want to know his business, so they can say, "I knew that shit wasn't gonna work. I knew that was gonna fail."
So let me get this straight, guys. He's able to share his business for the purpose of selling a book and making money, but we can't be concerned with his business.
Concern? No, it's none of your concern. Like,
I gotta pay to get it.
But you can pay to be concerned with his business.
Or he could share for free on Instagram when he's healed and ready to share it.
Him selling for free is him going to be giving you a portion of his book. Go buy my book and help me make money.
And then if you want to know,
basically what Corey is implying is that he's a motivational speaker. He's not a minister.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not what I said. Stop twisting my words.
No, I said that's what you're implying.
That's not what he's implying either. I mean, like Corey validated the fact that he's a pastor, but what he's also saying is that as a pastor, that does not mean that everything a pastor does, we should judge and throw stones.
Why not?
Say, okay, well, if you mess up, then that's so weird because he's human. Yeah. He's human.
Right. They just people.
We're all human. We're all fall short.
We don't have these issues. We're not allowed.
We're not saying throw stones at them. We're saying make them accountable.
Yeah.
What is the accountability for being divorced?
Your version of accountability is just him telling his business, and that's not accountability.
But he had no issue doing that before, so it's not like nobody dragged him to the forefront and said, "Share all your business when everything is golden."
But how is that accountability? You're using the word accountability. Exactly. What is the accountability part? So as long as he says the reason why he's getting divorced, that makes him accountable.
Well, that could also be helpful to somebody because he's already used his influence to help people on the front end. Right. So now when you're going through your mess, that part could help on the back end. But to your point, there may still need to be time to do that. But it would be expected
to help with things he's not comfortable helping with. So if he's not comfortable helping with that part of it, then he's not obligated to help you with that portion.
Yeah. So listen, real quick, right? So So I guess you're right, Corey. He don't have to share, right? But as a leader, I think this to Shaun's point. I think a lot of points, right? You don't think there's any type of obligation to be transparent as you have been in the past? You saying he can just flip it? Because that's essentially what's going to happen. That's all.
You can unplug at any time.
Your idea of transparency is like me sharing the worst parts of my life with you, right? And as a person, I don't have to do that. I'm not obligated to do that, right? As a minister and a person of God, I was here to try to help people find relationships, push them in the right direction, push them towards God. I chose to do that, but I'm not obligated to share the worst parts of my life with you, no matter what my profession is.
Now, okay, I understand what you're coming from. Kadi, you guys keep on saying mistake. Poopy, you two. You keep saying there's a mistake. This was a calculated decision that goes directly against the word of the Most High.
So how is the divorce a mistake? I didn't say mistake.
Wait, sorry, you didn't say it then. I apologize. Kadi said it. Corey said the mistake specifically. Guys, somebody said he made a mistake, right? I'm thinking it's you two. I thought you was in that line. I apologize, right? But now, this is a calculated decision that goes against the word of the book in which he believes and teaches.
Okay.
How are we now justifying that?
Wait. So if it goes against the word of the book, then God.
Kadi, your name is not Kadi. Your name is not Kadiatu. It's Master Corey.
Oh, you said my name right. I didn't feel
all right.
Please don't call him Master Corey.
Yo, his name is everybody.
I want to be the judge and the jury. He wanted to.
I'm asking.
Happen need to execute him. The guy handled the business.
I just want to break it down. Like, so Kadi, what do you say when you know it's a calculated decision that goes against the word of the God that he believes in? What do you say then? You saying that he doesn't owe any type of explanation at that point either?
The only explanation he owes is to God. I don't care, and it's again not for me to judge because I go through my own things. I'm walking my own journey. He's a pastor, yes, but he's still also human. He is still walking his own journey and trying to find his own way, through his religion. And he's going to fall short sometimes. And maybe this divorce is a part of him falling short. But again, it's not for me to say, oh, yeah, you messed up. Like, this is big. Like, I can no longer, trust what you say, or your credibility is lost with me. I think it's inappropriate because we're not leaving room for people to make mistakes or make decisions that in our minds may not be right, but still move forward and do positive things, So I think it's a weird that we have where we really cancel people, for doing things that we don't necessarily agree with, and that we feel entitled to know the reason behind someone's decision, even though the decision has nothing to do with us and it doesn't impact us in any way directly, So, yeah.
So I have a question, and I want to push back a little bit on what you said, Kadi, because you can say personally that it doesn't have any impact on you, but if you are in his ministry and you decided to marry your girlfriend based on his word, his teachings, his beliefs, and now he's switching it up by getting divorced, but preaching to you saying that that's against the word, then that does leave room for at least some authenticity to be articulated and on the table. I don't know how that's confusing to you, Corey. Hold on. But what I'm saying is, if this is someone that's leading people or teaching people, then you can't just teach the positive.
I agree.
You have to be authentic. You have to be authentic. You have to be authentic and the good with the bad, especially if you're trying to bring someone else through a difficult situation. That's my only beef. Not that he's a man and he makes mistakes and nothing like. Of course, that's cool. I'm not. I really don't disagree with what y'all saying.
Shaun,
I'm just saying that
the message, not the messenger.
Thank you. And who's to say that he does not have plans to do that? But in his
we don't know. I'm just saying
we don't know. But we're pressuring him now. We're pressuring him now to go ahead and release a statement on a chapter in his life that he's still trying to figure out, what's really going on. So can we just allow this man some time to go through?
He's figured out what's going on because he filed for divorce.
Okay, but he's still processing. The papers ain't even Like nothing's finalized yet. So
but they also
but filing.
Look, I've filed for divorce before. I'm divorced. I know what the process is.
Let's hold you accountable. Tell us why.
Okay, and I mean, a lot of people have filed for divorces before and unfiled and
right.
You know,
what you did wrong?
I did a lot of things, but you know, that's another.
Yeah, you can file for divorce 3 and 4 times.
That's another podcast.
But I'm just file for divorce. But did you have to announce that you filed for divorce?
I don't think
they announced it.
Yeah, I don't think they announced it.
They came out with a joint statement.
They came out with a statement.
Yeah. After somebody found that did the digging and saw that it was filed in the
they didn't have to address it. They chose to.
They didn't have to address anything. Yeah, they made the statement.
If you damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly right.
You gotta make up your mind.
Right.
Well, I'm just curious why y'all don't think he has any responsibility to at least minister.
He's delivering the message. You should be following the book, the teachings of the book, not the message, not the messenger, right? So the messenger's gonna always fall short because they're not perfect.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know where you got that from. I don't know where that came from, but I don't believe in his accuracy.
Okay, all right. So you're looking for a perfect messenger. That's what you're looking for.
No, that's not what I said. Why? Everything doesn't have to be in absolute terms.
Right,
everything does not have to be.
Then we on the same page then, because he's not an absolute guy. He's flawed, just like the rest of us.
Right. Well, we don't know that he's flawed. We don't know that he's flawed.
He's a man.
Everybody is flawed.
Everybody's flawed.
I'm just saying. I don't
agree with that. I don't agree.
Really? So you're perfect here, like. Really?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let Peter tell us why.
Huh?
Why?
Tell us why.
Why am I perfect?
Yes.
I just told y'all because I'm an Aquarius. See if you listen.
Somebody must be speaking over you. I couldn't hear you. Okay, because your birthday. All right.
Yeah, it's because my birthday. No. Do I honestly think I'm perfect? Probably. Am I really? Not at all. But I do think. I think that people that have certain positions should be held to a higher standard. You should always, and I think that people at the lowest level mean what you say what you mean, and follow through. If you can't commit to these vows, I take words seriously. So if it's death do us part, then we ain't divorcing.
So you don't believe
but again,
all right, so you over there, so you think that you're gonna get your head knocked through the washing machine, you just still gonna stay
I might actually like that. Like, it's no shade. I might actually like that. Might be my thing, right? But listen, that's another story.
Hey now,
if you like walking around with eye jammies and whatever, you know what I mean? Like, there's different things. Like, if you don't want to be with anybody, or if you're not happy, you should not stay. I don't care what God you follow.
But that's not what a pastor should do.
But I think we're hung up on his actual title, right? Or whatever, whether he's a pastor, minister, whatever it is. Because this can be true for any position. This can be true for any position. Whether you're an educator, you are held to a certain standard. A police officer, you are held to a certain standard. So when a police officer is not doing what they are supposed to do, when they break the law, essentially, we are expecting them to be held accountable, right? So what is
in
the
their
difference
personal life?
Right. Thank you.
What is the difference when it comes to Devon Franklin? He made the choice and the decision to go into not only be a minister, whatever it is, but he chose to get himself on a public platform, and he chose to write these books, and he chose to go ahead and go on these tours, and he chose to give people advice. This is what you should do. This is what you should do. This is what you should do. And he chose to allow people into his realm. Now, do I listen to any of his work? No, that don't mean nothing to me. I'm going to do what I want to do. But there are some people who are influenced by that. So when this situation occurs, and I'm sure he's going to write another book, get your money. And I'm sure he's going to go into detail about it. But the issue is that when people sit there and they want to pick and choose these bits and pieces of their life that they're telling, that's where it becomes problematic. I hope that whenever it is that he writes this book or whatever he chooses to do, that he's transparent and that he's honest, because he had all the answers for everybody else and everything else. So what are you going to say about this? And I'm sure, and whether it's him or somebody else, that's like if someone has a reality show and like, okay, this is supposed to be a real show. Okay, so why not show what happened over there? Why is this being edited? Why are we getting bits and pieces of this? Like what? Like there's no different. It doesn't matter what his job is. He chose to get into this realm, and being in this field, he is held to a certain standard. So he has to be accountable for his actions, whether they're good or bad. And when it comes to what Pierre was saying about filing for divorce, 70% of women are the one who file for divorce. It's not typically something that is related to men. So being that he filed for a reason, and it could be, maybe it's related to his walk with Christ, or it could be something else, we don't know. But as someone who has chosen to make his life, him and Megan's life, an open book, I want to know what happened.
Nigga said,
I want to know. Weird. You lost me at that last statement, Alex. You just said I want to know. That's all.
Yeah. Yes, because you want to know. Yeah,
that's what it boils down to. Niggas just want to know. In the social media era, everybody wants to know. Everybody business.
Yeah, that's like if when the Lamar Odom situation happened, right? Y'all record everything else. Okay, well, are y'all really gonna record this in depth? They're going to talk about it when the Tristan Thompson and whatever the homegirl's name Jordan was. Why didn't y'all record the conversation that happened with you and Jordan?
Your logic is if you give me a piece of your life, you give me all of your life.
Right.
Because the thing is, that goes back to my point of when people sit there and they invite people into their life via social media, which is what Devon Franklin has chosen to do on these public platforms.
Well, no, if we take him out of it, if we just put social media only, we all, like, I don't be like, you know what? Today I might post the meal that I made today. I'm not gonna post that I made a sandwich yesterday because nobody cares about the sandwich. I'm gonna show you the pot roast that I made. We're talking about social media and what you share, which is highlight reels of your life. Highlights.
Right.
Not lowlights.
Right.
So he showed you the highlights.
Right.
If you want his lowlights of his life.
He's choosing.
But Pastor Tamora, if you were preaching about marriage and the sanctity of marriage, and you file for divorce, then that contradicts what you've been preaching about.
I have not followed his preachings or all what he, shared in his book. I have seen clippets, and the clippets that I've shared where he was discussing him, his wife, and his marriage, is that he doesn't necessarily follow, but in particular, him advocating for his wife, supporting the role of saying, why do you support your wife? How could you support her wearing a low top? How could you support? So it was already known that they don't have a standard practice of what everybody else believes a pastor's marriage should be. And they made that very public. We are not following what y'all think we should be living like as pastor and first lady. So get that out of your head. They made that very clear. And this is just a part of that. We no longer are getting along. We no longer are equally yoked. This is a part of what they've always been saying. We are not following the standards that y'all believe we should be following. He said that way back when y'all was judging Megan Good for wearing the bodycon dress. Mm-hmm. So they've always said that. They've always held the congregation accountable for their judgments. Mm-hmm. That has been the standard of their marriage.
But divorce is finite.
You missed the whole message, Shaun.
No, I didn't miss the message. I understand what she's saying. I understand, but those are things that are happening inside of the marriage. Right. Those are things that I'm fighting with my wife through because till death do us part. Those are all things that I'm going through with my wife because she's my wife. But when you choose to say she's no longer my wife, then that contradicts everything else.
But what you guys were saying was why haven't they shared? But they have been sharing. They haven't contradicted anything. They have been saying, listen, we are not following the
that's not what I said.
What did you say then?
I'm saying that there's a different accountability for a pastor. I'm not saying what they do or what they have done. I'm just saying.
I think what we keep asking you, what does that accountability look like?
There we go.
You're the blue. I think when we talk about accountability, it's like this is the ideal, this is the standard, this is the blueprint.
No, what does the accountability look like? What is the accountability look
as a pastor?
It looks the same as explaining why you should be married. It looks the same as explaining why you go through things in your marriage.
So me giving you an explanation of what I did wrong is being held accountable.
You keep saying what he did wrong. Okay, I'm not saying anybody did anything.
What does accountability look like? No one's answering that question.
I want to just interject. When I'm saying the thing about letting us into your life, I'm making that separate from the accountability piece. I just want to clear that because I feel like y'all are mushing it together, and that wasn't my intention.
What would have been the perfect way for him to handle this? So let's get to that. What would have been an ideal way for him to handle this? What would have made you guys happy? For anyone who
right.
Shaun, what should he have done?
In my opinion, he should have explained to the same people that he preached about being married in the constitution of marriage why he was getting divorced.
Okay. Pierre, what do you think he should have done?
That's just authentic. That's just authentic.
Right, so if he gets up in church Sunday and says, I feel short, I haven't been living up to I'm getting divorced, I haven't been living up to what I've been preaching. Is he done? We good?
Is he done? We good? What does that mean? Is he done?
Would you be satisfied with the accountability piece? If he got on Sunday, he said, you know what? I've been married to my wife for the last 9 years. And, it's been 10 years. My wife is 41. She's not having any kids. And I want kids. And I want to be, I'm a man that wants to have a family and she doesn't. And I no longer can live this way. So we went our separate ways. Would you be okay with that?
I don't need that level of detail, right? Like you say level of detail that you want. I could care less about the actual detail. I want to know, one, it's okay to be divorced, right? But what happened? You can say reconcilable differences, whatever the case may be. We grew apart, fine. I don't need to know the ins and outs.
And that would be good enough for you.
They said that.
Yeah,
but they said that.
They said that
in the statement.
Yeah.
What's the statement?
Wait, somebody run to Tyrese. What more do you want from me?
I'm not aware of what the statement was, but
I'm not either.
Like I said, if you are following the biblical laws of marriage and divorce, then there's only a certain amount of reasons. So if we're allowing different reasons for divorce biblically, I'm not talking about what normal men and women do. I'm talking about what a pastor and wife does. If we're changing the rules,
so the pastor's not a normal man. He's like a
no, he's not. No, he's not.
Okay.
But if we're changing the rules on what is allowed for divorce, I'd like to be educated on it. I'd like to understand. I'd like to know. That's all I'm saying.
We all know the rules, and we still all get divorced for our own personal reasons.
Yes, I don't disagree with that, Kadi. I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying that if you're a pastor, you're held to a different standard. We disagree.
But you're putting a standard on. You're still putting a standard on this man that he didn't put on himself. Meaning, what Tamora was saying was that him and Megan, they pretty much talked through the fact that they don't have a traditional pastor and first lady dynamic. They allow each other to be who they are independently, and together they have a union and they operate in the way that they feel most comfortable.
Yeah, but you can play the gray area on what you aren't doing traditionally versus what's in the Bible. Of course you can, because there are things in the Bible that didn't exist today. Of course you can play the gray area, but the gray area, divorce is black and white, it's finite. So there's no gray area with divorce.
You're right, there's no gray area, but it's still a personal choice. That doesn't devalue the messages that he's been sharing with his congregation and the people on social media.
Oh, it absolutely does.
Okay, well.
It absolutely does.
So I think it boils down to, at its core, how tied to your faith are you? How invested in the teachings of whatever faith that you follow, right? Because for those of us who don't give a fuck, cool, divorce, it is what it is. For those of us that are a lot more liberal, cool, don't give a fuck, do what you got to do. But if you're holding on to the core beliefs that you were taught and whatever that Bible says that is your tool, then that's going to mean something, like because they got a divorce. Example, Catholic Church, we weren't able to get divorces until the second canon, which is an entire conference of everybody in the church, of all the leaders in the church, to then say it's okay. Mm-hmm. Before that, there's people there are still old school Catholics that don't do divorce. I know many unhappy people in a marriage because they are tied to their faith. If they got divorced, to them that means they're going to hell.
Yeah,
and that's
what's changed.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
that's the faith.
So Corey, for me, if you ask me that same question, he would have to tell me how he is able to disregard God's law. And if he would say she had sex with another man or something like that, then I would be like, okay, right. But in the Bible, that's the only way you can get divorced, right? So if you live by that, then and if he breaks that commandment willingly, it's going to be hard for people to come back from that and to trust what he says, so on and so forth. To Pierre's point, if you believe in the word as it is written.
Yeah, well, I think time and time again that's been proven to be false. Meaning congregations have forgiven pastors all the time for infidelities, and have moved on and still attend the same church.
No,
so
Kadi, let me just interject.
Mm-hmm.
In the word as it is written. That's what I said. Yeah, so I'm not saying what these churches do. They don't. It's not the word as it was written, right? That's why I made sure I made that specific point. So yeah, the churches go off and allow people to do whatever.
Yeah.
The word as it is written that's not the case. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then that's not being carried forward. Then that's not really being applied. Like it's not applied. Meaning, okay, if he comes and says, "Well, I'm divorcing Megan because, well, not because she cheated on me, but because we're just going our different ways. We have different views, and we're just going to gracefully depart." Then what? What does that mean?
So if I was like a member,
that's not good enough for him. You got to stone him.
Yeah.
If you got any other reason besides adultery, he got to be stoned.
Yeah. So essentially, that wouldn't be a good enough reason, right? If you follow the Bible and actually know what it says, that's all, right?
Yeah.
So there's other people that fuck with it, right? They might be like, you know what, Pastor, we get it, we understand. I might get a chance to fuck you now, right? So, but for me, because I know what it says, that's not good enough. That's all.
So if it's not good enough, then what? That means you're no longer gonna follow him. That's what you're saying.
Hell no.
He's gonna go to the church with the perfect pastor. He's gonna go to the one next door.
But you shouldn't be following any man anyway. So
thank you.
No, everybody. One. There's leaders all throughout the Bible, right? So there's always a leader. Peter, the built was church upon Peter. He's the rock of the church, right? So that's foolish, right? Even in the Bible, it says you read it and then you need somebody to explain it because we all don't understand it, right? So that's not true, actually. But I'm saying in terms of me, right? If you just break the law willingly like that and just disregard what it says, I'm saying I couldn't fuck with boy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying what everybody else should do. I'm just saying what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, I respect that, but that's not the majority.
Right.
So again, like, why does it even matter? People just want to know and be nosy.
Yeah.
Like Alex.
Yeah. I'm telling
you.
I don't be
she needs to know.
She needs to know.
I do not follow them.
Yeah.
I am just saying and making a blanket statement. But taking me out of the situation, he has followers. There are people who cling on to his every word, and I'm sure they're going to be looking for what happened.
And he gonna write it in a book and make $1 million.
Right. And that's fine if you
As
want to do it. They're
should.
still going to be figuring out what happened.
That's
Get
exactly.
your money off of it. That's fine.